They say before there were churches or holy books, before commandments were carved into stone and prayers recited in perfect lines, there was the earth. And the earth in its rawness was sacred. The people who walked it knew the winds by name. They read the stories written in fire, and they feared the things that did not bleed. Evil was not a theory then. It was presence. It had weight. It had sound. It moved through shadows and silence, always just outside the fire's glow. When night came and shadows stretched too long, people did not speak loudly. They lit fires not just for warmth, but to keep something out. But the old ones, they were not helpless. No, they had their ways not written, but passed through breath, through lullabies and war chants, through salt and blood. Salt was never just seasoning. It was a protector in grain form, sacred dust born of tears and oceans and sweat. In Africa, salt was sprinkled at thresholds and doorways and under sleeping mats to confuse spirits that wandered too far from the land of the dead. Salt lines were drawn around the beds of the sick, and when someone passed away, a bowl of salt was left near their feet to weigh down the soul, so it wouldn't wander. In Japan, even today, sumo wrestlers throw salt before a match not for luck, but for purity. In old Europe, spilling salt was a warning, a crack in the spiritual wall. But throw a pinch over your left shoulder, just like your grandmother told you, and you might blind the devil waiting behind you. Salt was the line evil could not cross. It was simple. It was sacred. But when salt was not enough, there was blood. Blood was the river of life. Warm, red, holy, was not spilled for decoration. It was offered. In many tribes, blood was drawn not in war, but in covenant. A goat's blood was smeared on the walls of a new home to invite the ancestors to protect it. In the Americas, the Maya believed blood fed the gods. Their kings would cut themselves not to suffer, but to open the sky. Where in West Africa, warriors marked their weapons with blood before battle, a silent call to the spirits of protection. And when a child was born under a strange moon, a line of blood drawn across the brow told spirits, "This one is spoken for. Move along." Then came fire. Fire was the breath of the ancestors, the tongue of gods. It did more than warm bones. It burned through darkness, cleared spirits from the air. In South America, tribes burned sacred leaves to create smoke trails that carried prayers. In West Africa, they rubbed ash on their skin to disguise their scent from spirits who hunted by smell. In the Middle East, the smell of burning frankincense was believed to drive away the jinn. And when someone died in Eastern Europe, a flame was kept burning through the night so the soul would not feel alone, or lost, or return. Fire carried what humans could not, and returned peace in the form of smoke. But some rituals needed no object at all, only breath, only voice, whispers, chants. Songs only sung under the breath or just before sleep. A mother would hum a song as she braided her daughter's hair, not just for rhythm, but for protection. Each twist carried a word, each word a wish. In some places, a child's name was whispered 3 times before dawn, so their soul would remember who it belonged to when they dreamt too deeply. There were words binding words never said aloud during the day, too sacred, too sharp. They were passed from grandmother to granddaughter, and when not passed, they died. But their echo, it still lingers. They say the world is different now, that we are modern, that we are rational, that evil wears a suit now, not feathers, not smoke, not bones, but why do we still knock on wood? Why do we feel something when a mirror breaks? Why do we lower our voices when we speak of the dead? Because something inside us older than our names remembers. It remembers when the night meant danger, when we stood on the edge of the unknown, when we drew circles in salt and whispered to the flame. These rituals were not silly. They were not foolish. They were protection. Protection born from pain, passed on through love. Even now, some still light candles when the wind howls. Some still keep salt in their pocket. Some still mutter a name in the dark when fear creeps in. They do not call it magic. They call it habit, tradition, culture, but we know what it really is. It is memory. It is belief. It is survival. And belief, my friend. Belief is the oldest magic there is. So do these rituals still work? That depends, not on proof, but on presence, on intention, on whether you believe the story still matters. And if you've listened this far, maybe, just maybe, it still lives in you too. This is Myths and Tribes, and the fire still burns. Hit that subscribe button for Myths and Tribes stories.